Alright, so I wanted to make this video about like a month ago or whatever. Not a month ago, probably like 3 weeks ago, when they did the announcement stream in China about the upcoming events and whatnot. They did mention something that really piqued my interest. It was about the release of World 14 coming sometime before the end of the year. So that gives us about 6.5 months or so. Or, yes, about 5.5 months, 6 months, around there. Now, why this topic is interesting? Well, I want to talk about this a while back because this is something I've mentioned probably for like the past year or so, in places where you guys couldn't find it, like my Discord. Why it took so long for them to release World 14? Because it was let's say it's by December, right? If it's by December, it took them 2 years to release a new world into this game. Why is that? Let's break up this topic into smaller chunks because it's something I really want to talk about and explains a lot about why this game is super flawed in game and why it's hard for them to go about what to do next. Now, I'm not sure if I spoke about this in a earlier commanders chat or something. I probably might have, but it's something that's super flawed when it comes to end game content in Azur Lane. The reason why it took them, I believe, why it took them this long to update a World 14 is because the biggest thing is the level difference mechanic. Now, I've said this many times in leveling up guides and whatnot and telling you guys how to get stronger in the game. It's the level up mechanic. And the level up mechanic, it rewards you for being higher level than the enemy. Yes, it's one of those games that rewards you for being super higher level over the enemy. And by doing this, you're going to have an easier time doing whatever combat you're doing. This update or this system helps people that are very new to the game. Why I say this is because if you're like a new player, you don't know how to gear up ships, you don't know how to limit break, you don't know how to do all those things. You just gotta be higher level than enemy, right? You just have to be higher level than enemy, and you can clear whatever content you're doing. It's not until later into the game, like plus 110 and higher, where you have to think, oh, I have to actually equip my ships, and I have to think, I gotta min-max a bit. I gotta use proper fleet compositions and whatnot. It's not until later, like super later into the game, you're gonna figure those things out. Until then, you can just level up. You can just use whatever ships you want, and as long as you're higher level than the enemy, you should be good to go, right? Now, this is bad at end game because at end game, we're capped at level 120, and as of 13.4, there are enemies that push above level 120, and even then. We have Operation Sirens that also goes above 120 as well. Now, why would this play into why World 14 is delayed? Well, following the trend as of right now, 11.4 having mobs of 106 and the boss being 107, 12.4 being 113 mobs and 114 boss, and 13.4 being 121 mobs and 122 boss. Now, following this trend, if they were to release 14.4, the mobs are probably expected to be about 128 to 129, and the boss is expected to be 129 to 130. Now, given what I told you guys before, if they release World 14 and we get, say you somehow make it to to 14.4, the boss is going to do 20% more damage to you, roughly around there, and you're going to also do 20% less damage to the boss on top of that. Now, that seems pretty tricky. It may not sound much, but that's a lot of chunk of damage, and that's more damage taken to your ships as well. That makes it very hard. If you guys want to simulate how difficult World 14 is going to be on release, given the current circumstances of the game with our level cap and whatnot, you go to Stronghold, Operation Siren, and you go to a Siren Stronghold, and you clear that entire map. Well, not entire map, just clear like, I guess, 7-8 mobs and then do the boss or whatever. Clear it with about 95 to about 115 adaptability, somewhere between there, preferably on the lower end if you want the full experience. That is what you're expecting. Now, do it with no mid kits. Now you're going to see how difficult World 14 is going to be when it comes out. Doing it at around 90 or 100 adaptability is extremely difficult. I did this way long time ago in one of my videos, but I had to use med kits. It is just that tricky. It is extremely hard. I would not recommend it. But if you guys want to simulate how difficult it would be, do it with about 100 to 90-ish adaptability, and you will see how difficult World 14 is going to be on release. Now, that is why I believe World 14 is delayed as of right now. They can't figure out the system. Now, I do recall them saying they're asking for player feedback on if they want to release or make the level cap higher for up to 125, I believe, which is going to make it a little bit easier because with 125 cap and 129 mobs or whatever, it's about a 4-level difference. It's not that bad. It's still pretty tricky, but it's not super bad. But here's my take on the whole level cap raising. I don't like it. The reason why I don't like the level cap being raised is because it goes against a lot of things in this game that rewards players for having level 120 ships. At 120, you have permastats, you have fleet tech stuff, right? You also have tier 2 medals in the trophy room that rewards you for having 120 ships. There are so many incentives and rewards in this game for you when you achieve a level 120 ship. If they were to raise that level cap, it goes against both of those things. That made it so, oh, you hit 120, there you go, you hit end game, right? Also, they're adding to the coin sink problem as well. That's also a thing as well. If they were to make it so the cap is 125, as of right now, we pay for SSR ships. We pay about 2K, I think, for 100 to 105 awakening, and then it's like 3K or something, or 4K. I'm not even sure anymore. From 105 to 110, and then 6K from 110 to 115, and then 10K from 115 to 120. If they go about this trend, it's going to cost 15,000 coins per ship to get them from 120 to 125. Not to mention, it's going to cost way more cog ships. And to some people, such as myself, that are spam leveling up 120 ships, we're going to be super low on cog ships. That's going to be bad. That is going to be very bad. Very bad. So, again, to some people, such as myself, coin sink is a big problem into this game that still hasn't been addressed yet. It is still very hard to get coins in this game. Luckily enough, we have full auto, and I just sit at 2-1 all day and farm 2-1 because if I didn't have 2-1, I'd be so poor right now in this game. Also, if I were to be doing my research again for PRs or whatnot, I would be super poor. Super poor. So, I don't want the level cap to be raised. It goes against a lot of things in this game that rewards you for having 120 ships. There's also the fact that the coin sink problem is also an issue, and it doesn't really solve the issue for future content. So, for example, if they were released, let's say, okay, World 14 is out. Now World 15, what are they going to do now? They're going to raise level cap to 130. Now we have a bigger coin sink, and it keeps going further and further. I don't like that. It makes the game extremely difficult to manage. We're going to have endless coin sinks, endless cog chip sink, and it's just going to get higher and higher EXP threshold. As of right now, it takes a long time already to get 120 ship. I may not look, or I may make it look like it's not long, but it actually is a long process to get a 120 ship, and so forth. I don't want that. The level cap should stay 120, because as of right now, 120 is like it's a solid end game for ships. It takes long enough to the point where it's rewarding, but it's not too fast to the point where, oh, we should just raise level cap it because getting 120 ship is so easy nowadays. No, it's still somewhat challenging with coins, cog chips, and EXP, and you still got to do it for multiple ships as well. So that's one thing. So if they were to release World 14, they got to do 15, 16. What are they going to do about those? Keep raising up the level cap? It's going to be bad. It's going to end very miserably. Coin sink, EXP gap, all that jazz. So, with the feedback about World 120 ships, if people don't want 120 ship, here's what's going to happen. If players say they want the level cap to be raised, they're gonna immediately release World 14, because With 14 being released, they just have to raise the level cap, and then the gap is about 4 to 5 levels. It's still clearable. It's still clearable. Not to mention we have like plus 13 gear right now, so it's definitely can be cleared with 4 or 5 levels down between the enemies and whatnot. But if people don't want the cap to be raised to post 120, what's going to happen is I can see them adding a new combat system similar to adaptability in Operation Sirens. Now, why is this a thing? Is if you guys don't realize yet, adaptability makes Operation Sirens very, very easy. Very, very easy. If you cap your adaptabilities at 188 for offense, survivability, and I think it's like 144 for healing, the tactic, whatnot, OS is very, very easy with 120 ships. I'm not even kidding you guys. It is very, very easy with 120 ships. I can see them adding a system similar to that in World 14, because if they were to release World 14 raw with no kind of handicap, no level cap increase, it is going to be super, super challenging. Super, super challenging. So you got to keep that in mind. If they were to do adaptability though, here's the thing. It's going to be super unbalanced, I'd say. Unless they find a way to make it tamed, it's going to be super, super unbalanced. To the point where I believe World 13 on release is going to be harder than World 14 on release because of that adaptability system if they were to implement it. That's the thing. So I kind of don't want an adaptability system because I already see the quote-unquote flaws of it. Like it makes OS a lot easier when it's supposed to be challenging. It was challenging at first, back when the game the game mode first came out, because no one knew what to do, right? I did my first stronghold at about 130, 115, 120 adaptability, and I got my ass blown away. It was just that hard. So I don't want this system because it's unbalanced. I don't want a level cap increase because it's unbalanced. What I do want, I want them to rework the level difference mechanic. Now, I know it's supposed to help out new players and undergeared players because they don't know how to play the game, and it makes it easier for them. But just rework the system towards endgame players. I don't know, like maybe let's say your ships are above 120 or whatever. Let's say your commander level's like 100 or whatever. Rework the system. Rework it so we're not so handicapped by being underleveled to the enemy that we take reduced damage, or we take more damage and we do reduced damage. That shouldn't have been a thing overall, because that just sucks. I don't like it at all. So I want them to rework the system. If they can find a good balance between reworking a new combat system, then they don't have to worry about increasing level cap, and they don't have to go about adding an adaptability system to World 14 to make it easier for people to clear. No. They also should make it so there's more ways to get stronger as well. More gear slots. Add like a flag or something that we can grind for, like purple flags, gold SSR flags that we can slot in to our ships. As of right now, each ship has 5 slots for gear. If we have, like, say 2 more, not only does that improve our performances, but that's just closing the gap between higher level enemies compared to what we have as of right now. Also, plus 13 was a good introduction, because I think I said it in one of my videos, because I remember talking about this. I said if they want to add more ways to get stronger without increasing level cap for coin sync and whatnot, they should improve CATS, the system as a whole, and they should add ways to get stronger, like adding more gear slots and making so gear can go higher, like play plus 12 or something, right? That's what I asked for initially. So the plus 13 gear is one way. CAT rework should be another way, and adding more gear slots as well should be another way as well. So that's my take as of why 14 is taking so long to release. It's about 1.5 years now since World 13 came out, which was early 2020, I believe, of last year. So we have ways to go. They're considering things. I don't want the level cap to be raised. I don't want adaptability. I want them to rework the combat formula to the point where we're not obligated to play around it, and we're not like structured to play it in that certain way. Otherwise, it's just not fun at all. It's just not fun. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Enjoy the video, guys. We have probably up to 5 months or so before World 14 comes out. Gear up, save those gold plates, and good luck to all you guys, whatever the update's gonna be.